Couples. I'm Marci,
And I'm Jeff.
and we're here to just support you and talk about marriage because marriage is hard.
Marriage is super hard.
What?
Yeah, we knew it. Everybody told us that 29 years ago. We've been married 29 years this December. And we have a heart to help couples thrive and not fake it and be honest and be biblical and actually have thriving marriages. And so that's what we want to help you do. By way of helping, we want to start by talking about some myths that surround marriage. And we want to break down those myths and debunk them a little bit for you. Because a lot of times we live according to the myths and reality is so different. Figuring out how to bring the two together becomes the thing that discourages us the most.
So we're going to bust the myth of compatibility today. You ready? Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. Am I ready?
Yes.
Okay.
67% of issues in a marriage are non-fixable.
This comes from research, right?
Yes.
The Gottman Center, Marci and I just finished our certificate with the Gottman Center for Couples Counseling. They've been studying, John Gottman's been studying marriage for decades. And one of the big findings that surprised us, it really didn't surprise us. And Julie. It didn't really surprise us, but it opened our eyes. And that was that 67% of conflict, problems, issues in marriage aren't solvable. We'll address down the road how you deal with those issues, but right up front we're talking about compatibility, and people think that you have to be exactly simpatico in order to have a good marriage.
Do you think that's true?
Well, we
are so not compatible. I'm an introvert.
Extrovert.
Tea.
Coffee.
Squeeze the toothpaste in the middle.
Roll it up with a nice thing and use a binder clip to keep it rolled up nicely.
Right. We're not compatible.
In fact, we went to, we were working toward planting churches, and we went to a church planter assessment, and they brought us out to this big football field, stood us together, and looked at our personality scores. And tell them about that.
So they lined us up, and for everything that they said, okay, are you an introvert or an extrovert or whatever the 10 questions were, you were supposed to step towards your spouse or partner if you were compatible, if you had the same answer, and away from him if you had a different answer. And we were at the walls when this was over. We were completely incompatible. Even in our pre-marriage counseling prepare test, we were at 90% or something.
90%. Different.
Yes. Completely different.
Yeah. And so here's the myth that we have to have all things in common. And the problem with that myth is it's born out of this internal desire that our partner would get us. You know, that they would, we wouldn't have to express ourselves. They would just know what we're thinking and know what we're feeling. And that's driven by, at least for us, for me personally, it was driven by this sense that even in my marriage, I was lonely. Have you ever been lonely in marriage?
Yes. No offense.
Yeah. What drives it? Well, it's no surprise. What drives your loneliness?
That you don't know my heart, that you're not listening to my heart, that there's a sense of that my heart isn't heard, or and so that's a problem. Psalm 139, I seek you and I know you. And God is the only one who completely knows me and gets my sense of humor, gets all of it.
And that's becomes really discouraging at some levels in marriage, because the myth is that we'll be so compatible that they'll finish my sentences for me, that he'll know exactly what I need in the minute when I need it, or she'll do just the right thing to make me feel better. And I think I've hit the nail on the head 3 times in 29 years.
That's not true. But he does a really good job. But
And we'll dive into the future of listening and how you do that better. But up front, we wanted to address the core hopelessness that so many couples feel because they feel like they should be compatible. And the lack of compatibility drives us to a place where we're focused on the things that discourage us in the marriage and we live there. So how do you climb out of the hole when you're focused on the things that discourage you?
well, I pray a lot. But also I look for the hope and I focus on honor.
Talk about that, honoring.
So I know that Jeff isn't really intentionally not trying to hear my heart. So I try to change the narrative of what he is saying or doing or whatever and be honest and say, sometimes I'll be confronting and say, not confronting like in an argument, but just say that hurt me or help me understand that. Or take it to the Lord and just go, God, show me how to talk to this person, which happens to be my husband. And what else?
And in all of it, the heart of honoring is to move yourself out of the place where you're criticizing or focused on all of those issues, that 67% that can't be solved, and actually focus on the things that you love about this person. You married him because you liked him, right? And that gets
And he was cute.
that gets washed over and becomes completely overwhelmed by all the issues that swirl in marriage. And so to climb out of the pit for me is to begin to focus on affirming Marci for the things that are great about her. And I may not feel great about the things I'm affirming her in the moment, but the affirmation and the act of going through that affirmation really makes a difference. How's it made a difference for you?
When you mean for me to affirm you?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a difference because it humanizes Jeff. So if there's something that in the beginning when we were first married, we had a very different approach to finances because we had a different approach to everything. And and I realized, okay, he is really trying and we're communicating completely differently. So we had to learn how to communicate and keep trying and not just think I'm never going to get there because God gave me this person for a reason. And so it's like he has a great sense of humor and that goes through a lot. So being a friend was more important than this issue, and I knew that with my friend I'd be able to find out how to address the issue.
And you did a good job of affirming the fact that I was working hard at
Right.
trying. So I may not have been getting it right, but she would affirm the fact that I was trying and express thankfulness and a sense of connection around the fact that I was putting the effort out. And that made all the difference. So let's get super practical. We're not sure where you're at with your marriage right now, but we invite you to, when you turn this off, do one affirming thing for your spouse. And let's talk about what makes a good affirmation. So last night you made dinner, actually 2 nights ago. Last night we did takeout.
Which was for me.
So 2 nights ago you made dinner and I'd been working like crazy, and I could have affirmed Marci this way and said, thanks for making dinner. I really appreciate it. That's nice, right? It's a nice thank you. It's a good thing. It's an affirmation. But listen to this affirmation. Thanks for making dinner. It made me feel seen and loved that you recognized that I was so tired, and so you fixed dinner without being asked. Really appreciate that. Feel the difference? When the feelings get added, it changes and deepens the affirmation, and it helps build the connection. She made dinner because she wanted me to feel loved. And thanks for dinner as my affirmation doesn't quite help her hear or know that she's loved in her effort. And so, as often as you can, add your feelings to your affirmations so that your spouse can hear from you that their actions actually affected their heart.
And one of the components that really helps with the affirmations is eye contact. There's a statistic that most people don't look at each other in the eyes. They are in the zone, but they're not looking at their child or their spouse or parent or whatever in the eyes. And looking in the eyes is like the eyes are the gateway to the soul. So when he's looking at my eyes, that he's seeing me, that intimacy level is increased. So that's what you want.
So make some affirmations. Think about the positive character. Share how that character trait or that action has made you feel, and look in their eyes when you do it.
Good job. And that's kind faith in marriage.
Let's be kind. Let's be kind to one another. It's often lost in couples. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to have more great content. Some other myths, a few that you might be surprised about, will be addressed in the coming weeks. And so we'll look forward to having you tune in and continuing the conversation then.
Please like us and share us with your friends.
God bless you. Have a great week.
Bye.